Welcome to the Abundant Accountant Podcast. This is where accounting professionals come to learn the most efficient and powerful ways to grow their accounting firms, sharpen their sales skills, and really have a path to creating consistent increased revenue. I cover topics from networking, pricing, ideal clients, how to handle objections, how to handle you're too expensive, and how to set boundaries with clients so you can stop giving away your time and expertise away for free and really start getting paid your value and your worth. You'll learn tips and strategies and also hear personal interviews from successful accounting professionals and others in the industry. This podcast will show you exactly how to create the firm and life of your dreams full of abundance. Welcome to the Abundant Accountant Podcast. Today we have a very special guest, and our special guest is a current student and client of mine. He started his career in Idaho in a regional firm where he got experience during 5 tax seasons. After this, he worked in 2 different corporations and became a tax manager at the second one at Albertsons Safeway. He wanted to escape the corporate routine and grind and be his own boss, so he started his own CPA firm, and now he wished he would have done it 3 years sooner. The experience has been incredible, and he loves the work that he does and the clients he works with. But before we invite our special guest, Devin, to the podcast today, I want to share with you that if you are sick of grinding 14 hours a day, sacrificing your time with your family and friends, or postponing those long overdue vacations, then I have the best opportunity for you to put a halt to all of that. So you can actually step up and take control over your firm or even your side hustle firm and quit your job so you have profitability and can double your firm revenue with ease. And so you can start feeling confident about charging premium fees to those clients who really truly do appreciate you for the value you provide so you can finally get paid your worth. If that is you, head on over to theabundantcall.com. If you're stuck in your firm, and you want to get to the truth of what's keeping you stuck. If where you want to be in your firm and your life is to get paid first and avoid all the pitfalls along the way and save a ton of money in the process, then head on over to theabundantcall.com where we can pull back the curtain to get to the truth of what's holding you back from your dreams so you have more financial freedom, just like Devin's about to share with us today. So now let's welcome Devin to the show. Welcome, Devin, to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Well, thank you so much for taking out the time to be here with us. And today we're sharing your story and how you got to where you are today. Devin is a case study. He is part of the 8-week sales mastery training and ongoing coaching that we have here at the Abundant Accountant Empire. So, Devin, again, thanks for taking out the time because now I know you're super busy, but why don't you share with everyone where you are and what your firm is and what you do and just a little bit of your background?
Sure, yeah. So I'm located in Scottsdale, Arizona, originally from Idaho, but I've been in Arizona for 7 or 8 years now. And I run a firm, Devin Whyte CPA, here in Scottsdale. And so far, I'm loving it. It's been an amazing switch since leaving the corporate world.
Yeah.
So I focus on tax planning and mainly with small businesses and bookkeeping for them, which doesn't sound that glorified, but it gives you a great opportunity to really get to know their business, really get to know the customer, and kind of, develop a fun relationship.
Yeah, for sure. And, I know you said you've been having a lot of fun since leaving corporate, but I do want to touch on that, because I think there's a lot of people listening who might be in corporate and might feel like their, ankles are tied to their office or cubicle or desk, and they're absolutely sick and tired of slaving away for someone else, grinding all these hours when realizing, hey, you know what? I could probably do this on my own. And I know, Devin, when we met, I think it was at the beginning of October of 2021. Let me get the date. Yeah, October 7th, 2021 was when you and I had our first chat. And you were sharing with me you didn't really like corporate and some of the things that you had wanted to create and the vision you had for your firm that you had on the side for a little while. So, can you take us back to, when first you decided to start your firm on the side? I think that was a couple years ago. And then after that, we can get into what had you, cut off the ties with that glorified paycheck that you were getting every couple weeks and having that security blanket. So maybe you could share what had you start your side hustle firm and what that was like for you pre now.
Sure. So I had been miserable in corporate land for a couple of years. I was a manager in a tax department with 13 employees, and I think, the pay was maybe 1,000 to 2,000 more for each employee, which felt, totally not valued. And then just all the
Wow.
politics and, the hours, and it's not even enjoyable. It's just the same boring monthly work. I actually got pretty miserable before I decided to start my firm. And so I finally did it. Finally took that jump and tried to start the firm.
When did you start it?
2 years ago, like June of 2019, roughly.
Okay.
And 2019 maybe had all of 3 or 4 clients, and then I got serious about it in 2020. So yeah, it was a little bit of a slow grow, partially because, I was doing the firm thing and I was doing the corporate job thing. Once it really started to gain some traction, 2021 was pretty okay. I was loving the work I was doing, but, just working all the time as a manager in corporate, plus trying to do the firm. And I think about the time that I started looking for you, I was just thinking, the number of clients I have, the amount of monthly work I'm doing, it makes sense to me that I should maybe be a lot closer to leaving than I am. And so what am I doing wrong? Kind of you don't know what you don't know. And
Mm-hmm.
probably the best way to relate that for some of the tax preparers out there is people that come in and it's like, well, I realize that you can do this for $70 on TurboTax, but TurboTax isn't going to save you the $12,000 by restructuring your entity that I might.
Mm-hmm.
So realizing you don't know what you don't know, and it's good to build a team of professionals in the areas you don't know to help you grow.
Yeah. And when you say you were looking for me, I mean, what were you actually like looking for when you said, or when you were reaching out, seeing that 2021, you thought, okay, I could make this leap of faith. I could quit my job. I could go all in at my firm, but I need X help. Like, what exactly were you in search of?
I was doing a lot of research trying to figure out what other firms might be charging. I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
sure if maybe I wasn't charging enough. So I was trying to do as much online research there as I could. I kind of tried to find, some firm consultation type of stuff. And I was also looking just in general in advertising and marketing. Maybe I just wasn't marketing enough, but I didn't feel like that was quite it because I knew I should have enough to be further than I was.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't remember specifically, but I think somewhere along the lines of, what are people charging and, what should I be charging and that type of stuff is probably where I found you and watched some of your videos.
Yeah. And I know when we had met, you were really struggling to, offer a potential client. It was about, I think, 2,300 and you were going to save about 22,000 on some planning ideas. And you were really having a hard time with that. So what do you think were some of the biggest challenges that you have definitely overcome since October that you realized? I mean, maybe some even other challenges that you didn't even know you didn't have, because like you said, you didn't know what you didn't know. That you would share with others listening who might be thinking, going all in on their firm, or maybe you even have a firm, but you're really struggling around, what am I doing wrong? Or, you're not sure and you don't know what to charge. And you were researching what to charge, and others might be too. But what are some of the other things that you really overcame since October so far?
Sure. So I think probably the top two would be understanding my value
Mm-hmm.
and breaking the hourly billing concept. So I was trying to pick an hourly price, and I mean, if you get more efficient, you're going to bill less. I mean, what if I get quicker and
Right.
quicker every year, the bill's going to be less. So just realizing that really doesn't make sense. I mean, and how do you price that if you have a staff member? And kind of remembering back to, when I first started, some of these returns that I'm doing now, I probably couldn't, well, I know I couldn't finish my first year. I would get them 85% of the way done and a partner would finish it. Um, and now I'm able to do it. And I'm like, well, how long did I spend back then? And now I'm
Mm-hmm.
so much faster. So breaking away from that hourly thing and what is it
Mm-hmm.
really worth and what's the value that I'm providing? That's probably the top one.
Yep.
And then understanding, the second part, knowing your value and why is it worth that value? And why is my time worth, the value that I'm going to assign to
Mm-hmm.
that, all the years of struggling and learning and the degrees and all of that stuff. So really understanding the real value behind it and breaking that hourly mindset
Yeah.
was pretty huge.
That's awesome. Well, before we dive deeper into when you quit your job, I think it's good to share with everyone listening some numbers to see how far you've come. So in 2021, what did you end revenue at the end of the 2021 period?
At the end of 2021, you want 2021, right?
Yeah.
I ended revenue at $59,000.
Okay. And you quit your job, I think it was what, December 15th?
Yes, yep, December 11th or 15th, something like that.
Something like
Yes,
that. And I think your goal was to quit sometime in 2022 when we first met and then do your firm 100%.
right.
Okay.
Yep.
And what are you on track for just the first month of 2022?
So to put if I can go back for 2 seconds, to
Yes,
put the $59,000 total for last year into perspective,
sure. Go for it.
October through December was 27,000 of it.
Got it. Okay.
Right. And when did I
Right.
engage with you?
October, I think it was 7th. October 7th is when you enrolled in the 8-week sales mastery course.
Yeah, right. Okay. And I think to answer your next question, January of this year, I want to say is right around, it's close to 30,000. It might be like 27,000.
Wow. So you're just about equal or a little more in 1 month of revenue and what you did in 3 months when we met. And the 3 months, 27,000 was almost 50% of your total revenue of 2021. Yeah, not too shabby. So I know, Devin, when we met, you had a lot of fears, right? I'm not sure what you thought about our conversation, but maybe you could share with the listeners. But I know you had a lot of fears around paying your bills and, you had a steady paycheck. You had the fears of not really having the right type of clients to do these higher value services with, or where you were even going to find them. So, can you share a little bit about what you were really terrified about prior to, turning in that 2-week notice?
Um, at that point, I was a little less terrified because I was already working with you and I was already seeing some of this come together.
Yeah.
But again, it was so fast. It was like, is this really sustainable? Is this
Ah,
going to keep
okay.
up?
So is it
So
like,
that was kind of one of my fears. Or, maybe I kind of got some weird clients and I had a bunch of year-end work that typically should be done, at the beginning of the year.
mm-hmm.
But the more I think about it and the more I see more and more clients, like, no, you're going to have your good portion of people that are never going to get it done till October and November. So, um, just I had to look at the numbers and realize that, what they were telling me and use what my brain was telling me and step past that fear. And that's honestly one of the guys I met with, a CPA who'd ran his practice for, years and years. He was about retired. And probably he helped me with that too, without even knowing it, because when he told me you just need to start a practice already and quit thinking about it and quit yada yada. He's like, you've thought long enough, and I'm a fan of thinking things through thoroughly, but then make a choice. Stop procrastinating and step out of your fear.
Mm-hmm.
So I really just forced myself to step out of my fear when I knew the numbers made sense.
Yep. Yep. Okay. It does make sense, and I think a lot of people and some listening, the fear creeps in, especially if you're in a job and like, how am I going to pay the bills, or how am I going to invest to grow my business and make hefty investments like working with me or softwares and other things that you need to invest in. And I hear a lot of times, Devin, I think even, I don't know what you had shared with me, that, they say, oh, that's a big cost, or that's really expensive. But in reality, it was actually costing you more to be at your job.
Right. It
Right.
absolutely was.
And
And
had,
realizing that fear too. What the other fear of, can you really stay in corporate?
right.
That helped. Not to cut you off, sorry.
Yeah. No, no, no. It's totally fine. But can you stay in corporate? I mean, that fear is like, it's an energy suck, I think, for a lot of people, when
Yeah.
I didn't even know you were getting paid less than some of your employees. And that's pretty demoralizing.
Yeah, well, I wasn't getting paid less than them, but I was really only making,
This is the thing.
before being a manager to being a manager of 13 people, I was only making like maybe 1,000 more per person. It just wasn't worth it.
Oh, got it. I understand.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
No, no worries. Thanks for clarifying. So I'm curious, to take us to the day when you decided to say, I'm going to quit. I remember you told us in class, but maybe share with everyone like where you were, what you were feeling, and what had you decide, I'm going all in and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to, you know, take that risk and go all in on my firm. And now, doing 30,000 a month. I mean, if you keep up this rate, which it will probably increase, you should do about 360,000 minimum of revenue this year. And when we met, your goal was maybe 150 to 200. I don't know if you remember what your goal was, but that's what you told me.
I do. I do. Yeah, it's been incredible. So where was I? I was on my couch staring at a printed off profit and loss statement for the numbers that I'd ran, probably for the third night in the row at 10 o'clock at night after staring at it for 2 hours,
Uh-huh.
and realizing, okay, I mean, you know what your brain's telling you to do, and stepping past that fear. But it's really where I was at, multiple nights in a row on my
Mm-hmm.
couch with a printed out statement because my back hurt from sitting in my office chair. And I was excited when I finally accepted it. When I accepted it and decided I was going to do it officially, and I knew I was going to put the notice in, I had such relief, and I
Mm.
knew it was the right thing to do. And when I put my notice in, I I can't even, I'm not good enough with words to describe how relieved I was to be done.
It was like a balloon, right? That got popped, and all that air just got sucked out, and you were just able to like breathe and relax and not stress. And
Yep.
yeah, I
Yes,
mean,
exactly.
probably looking at sitting on the couch, looking at your statement for 3 nights in a row, the thoughts and your conversations with your inner critic committee of those voices that talk to us in our head was probably
Yep.
going really crazy. But okay, that's great. And I'm sure some people listening right now have had those conversations with themselves, especially for those that have a side hustle firm. So I would love to hear, Devin, if you could share with us, you shared a little bit about what you tried to fix around your pricing, and that you would, research what other firms were charging and what you should charge. But if you had to share with everyone now of what you've learned since October, without sharing the exact like techniques, but just overarching
Yeah.
concepts and how you feel about what you do every day and how you communicate to clients once you get the lead. So when we
Yep.
talk about the conversions, what have you learned that you can attribute to some of these short-term wins that you've had?
Sure. So I have learned first off to charge something that I'm happy with
Mhm.
and to feel good about it.
Yeah.
To not feel bad about that, but to feel good about it. And I've had enough time to see that people are happy to pay that if you then provide the service behind it. And
Yeah.
when you're charging something you're happy with, you're absolutely going to provide better service than they've ever seen before. So then it becomes a great relationship with the client, and they're happy to pay it, and you're happy to do it because you feel valued. Um, I've learned that. I've also kind of learned, how to talk to people better. And not necessarily like in sales type of a way, but just how to explain things better, how to, put them at ease about some things without making it overly complex, and how just to connect with them in a way that makes it, it's not sales, it's just connecting with them and what they have going on, and being able to relate well with them, and at the end of a phone call, instead of feeling nervous about your fee, you've realized, if I charge them what I'm happy with and I've already connected with them, I can provide the service they need, and they already feel so much better after talking to me. I think they're going to feel good about paying for that, so long as they get what I say they're going to get, and they will, because I'm loving what I'm doing, because I feel valued, and I'm happy to do it for what I'm asking for.
Love it. Yeah. And I think those are some of the wins that you've had because you've put in the work and you've done all the different assignments and exercises that go along with, well, because someone might be thinking and you guys might be listening, well, how did he do that exactly? Well, the how is the process. But I think, how you said you did it with ease is critical, because a lot of people, think that, oh, I'm going to feel really salesy or really pushy, or I'm going to be feeling really annoying to them. Have you ever felt that way?
No, not at all.
Yeah. It's just,
not even a little bit.
yeah. Okay, cool. What would you share, Devin, with someone who's in your shoes right now? They're in corporate. They have a side hustle firm. Maybe it just got started. Maybe they had it a while. But they know they want autonomy. They want freedom, more money to go and travel and not have to put in a notice to get some PTO days off. Just go instead. What would you share with someone in your shoes that you think, I think your couch example and coming past that fear and honoring that you sat there for 3 days looking at it is great. But is there anything else or any other stories that you have that really help you overcome and make that transition to let go of the safety blanket of that paycheck and the benefits and the retirement account and all the other things that come with a corporate job?
I think it just comes down to, ultimately for me, I've learned a couple things, from my personal experiences. For me, making decisions out of fear has always been a horrible choice. It's always gone really bad for me. And so I've learned that those are some of the worst decisions that we make, is when we make them out of fear, when we make the fear choice, which is part of how I've learned to just step through that fear. Like I said, it wasn't easy. I was up till 10 o'clock at night, multiple nights in a row, just staring at it. So I understand that it's not easy, but making choices out of fear is not the best way to go, and that it's absolutely achievable. And there is help out there. There's systems, there are ways to do it, and it's achievable. And it's almost the same thing that I would tell, someone that's thinking about engaging with me, but they're not sure. TurboTax can help them. And it's, you don't know what you don't know. And really smart and successful people build that team around them. So build your team and acknowledge that you don't know what you don't know, and get that help.
Yeah.
And us accountants typically are probably not all that great at sales, or we would just do sales. So,
well, now you're getting pretty good at it. It's working out for you, $30,000 a month, and that's probably going to be your low in the future. So I want you to share, if you'd be open to it, your fears around enrolling in the 8-week sales mastery course when we had our conversation. And, I remember one of them vividly where you're like, I wish I knew someone that had worked with you. Remember that? Or something along those lines. To share with others that might be considering enrolling with me, or just even anything in general. Like you say, when you're building a team, the smart and successful people have a team. So, I'm sure, Devin, you could have figured this out on your own. You probably would still be in your job and, let's see, your revenue on a monthly basis in 2021 prior to us meeting was what? Like, I don't know, if you do the math, it was 59,000 and then less the 27,000 you did in 3 months. So you did 32,000 over a 9-month period. So you're averaging about 3,500 a month in revenue. Now you're averaging about 30,000 a month in revenue. And you know, you might still be doing 3,500 a month in revenue if you didn't take that leap of faith. But I know you had fears about enrolling, and I think it would be really great for you to share with others. And, it's not only about enrolling with me. I think it's just in anything you invest in your career and in your business, because ultimately that's what it is. You made an investment for extremely high ROI.
I do remember saying I wish that I'd known somebody that had done it. And that's because I kind of knew that I was going to do it, but you just want that firsthand knowledge that it works. It was at the time, it felt expensive. I would say now it's absolutely been totally worth it. But at the time, when you're trying to get this firm off the ground and trying to get out of your corporate job and nervous that it's going to be one more thing that might keep you, if it doesn't work, it might keep you stuck in your corporate job longer. And so that's what I was afraid of. But I had watched the videos, I had watched all the testimonials, on your website, and I had a good feeling about that. And talking to you, I got a good feeling. And again, the whole fear thing, learning to stop making choices out of fear, it made sense to do it. And I knew that I needed help in some of these areas. And I've recently spent a really good chunk of change on some advertising and a new website that's, incredibly more expensive than most that I've looked at. But it's the same principle. He has, really good reviews. They're on his website. You can see this. I mean, people don't sign up to do that type of stuff. I wouldn't be here doing this if I didn't believe in it. So, the data's kind of there to see it. And, you can kind of tell that it's there. It's really just your fear holding you back. It's your fear stopping you.
Yeah. And I think a lot of times too, Devin, I don't know if it was this for you, but it's like the fear of, will this work for me? I see it worked, Michelle, for 100 other people, or however many, videos you watched and testimonials you read. But it's like, you could talk to a bunch of other people, but it's the commitment to the work that you do and the effort that you put in, which is why you also got the results. So I think that speaks a lot to it as well.
It does. And some of the training is group based, which is great because you really learn a lot from everybody in the group. But I can tell, at least, from the group that I've worked with, it's working for everybody. So to answer that question,
it is working for everybody, but it's hard to believe, right? Did it ever cross your mind that this sounds too good to be true?
Yes, it did.
It did?
Yes.
And what were your thoughts when that came up? Like, how did you set that other fear, that inner critic and voice saying, well,
I just didn't think that as many people would leave an online review or a video or engage in podcasts and that type of stuff if they weren't happy. Mm-hmm. Just like I know I wouldn't be here today doing this with you if I wasn't happy. So
right. Yeah, full-on case study episode, you guys. You get to hear all the awesomeness from Devin. So, yeah, I love it. Well, thank you, Devin, for taking out the time today to share your experience, to share where you've come. I mean, kudos to you from going from an average of $3,500 a month to $30,000 a month. It's phenomenal. And, I know one of your things you were committed to change was financial freedom, and I think you're on your way to that.
Yes.
Financial freedom. And
I feel that.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know if you recall, but you do have a revenue goal that you shared with me of about $45,000 a month for March. So I think you could possibly hit that for your new goals that you had for this year. So keep up the great work. And is there any other last words or anything else that popped in your head that you would like to share with our listeners today?
The only thing is I would say, I really honestly believe this, just do it. It does. Michelle helps a lot. And it's worth every penny. And I think it's going to provide me a much more successful and happier life with my firm moving forward. And I've heard person after person say that in some of the group stuff that we do. And my firm was pretty new. And when I came in, some of the people that had been in the group portions of it for a while were like, "Man, we are so jealous of you. We wish we would have done this when we were where you're at."
Yeah. Some of the people that have their firm for a while wish that they were in your shoes doing it from the start, because then you don't get any like bad habits. And, kudos to you. Thank you, Devin, for taking out the time, and I'm grateful for the kind words as always. And it's an honor to be your support and be part of your team that you chose. So it's an honor to be on your team of what you're building. So thank you again. And I will see you all in the next episode.
All right, great. Thanks. You too.
Thank you all so much for joining Devin and I today on a wonderful case study interview with him about his journey from going from $3,500 a month in his firm to now around $30,000 a month in his firm. I calculated that, and that was about an 850% increase in revenue on a monthly basis. And I know some of you might be thinking, will this work for me? I got burned by other programs before. I want a guarantee or something along those lines. And at the end of the day, I do want to share, just like Devin shared today, you are your own guarantee. If you don't do the work, you won't get results in anything that you do. If you're in a corporate job, you'll just stay there. It's a great safety net. So I think the real question we all need to ask ourselves when fear comes up, or you want to make a big investment in something, is, are you willing to show up for yourself and do the work? Because like Devin said, all the testimonials he saw, well, that was great. And I can show you what and how I've helped other people get the results that Devin has and everyone else. However, all of that it's meaningless if we don't put the work into it. And transformation and making a change is actually an act of courage. So what I want you to really think about is that, I'm here and other coaches are here and other programs, and everyone is here to help you walk over that bridge of fear. But you have to show up 100% in whatever you choose. And I can show you a way, but you will get the results that you're looking for. So I think it's really important to take away from what Devin shared today that you have to really get true with yourself. And Devin sat on the couch for 3 days, staring at his P&L, thinking, should I quit? Should I not? Should I quit? Should I go all in on my firm? Blah, blah, blah. And your inner dialogue and that voice inside of your head will talk you out a lot of your goals and dreams. So if you would like to pull back the curtain, get to the truth of what might be holding you back from getting to those dreams, quitting that corporate job, or doubling or tripling your firm revenue, then head on over to theabundantcall.com and book an appointment with myself or my partner, Denise. We know that you might want to transform your firm, and we are here to discuss and see if it's a good fit for both of us. So again, you can apply at theabundantcall.com, and I will see you all in the next episode. Thanks for being here.